I remember somebody asking me not too long ago, how is it that I'm always happy? And I was really surprised when this person asked me this question because I never really thought of it like that. I think it was more that person kind of reflecting on their own emotional and mental state than me. Um, but nevertheless, my reply to this individual was, I'm happy because I choose to be happy. Again, not a profound answer in my estimation at all, but the response from this individual was like shock and awe. It was like, wow, how do you do that? And it wasn't something that I thought was, like I said, a big deal. I just choose to be happy. I wake up in the morning, I choose to be happy. I make choices, um, no matter what goes on outside of me, to be happy. It doesn't mean that I'm happy all the time. It just means that for the most part, I find it more pleasurable, um, and more beneficial to be in a state of gratitude or happiness. And so I think it all boils down to a few things. Um, Kind of my philosophy on life is to be happy in two places: um, what you do and who you're with. So what does that mean? When you're at work, let's say you work for 8, 10 hours a day, or if you're working for yourself, it's important that you love what you do. And when you come home from that, or outside of work, it's important that you love who you're with, and that you actually like what you're doing, or like who you love and like what you love to do. Liking and loving are two important things. Let's do the math here. If you go to work all day and you hate what you do, or you love what you do but you hate being in that particular setting, how does it affect you for that whole 8 hours? And when you come home with all of that, how does it affect the person who you love to be with? You got to come home and dump all of that on that person. How does it affect your relationship? So now you have one, but you don't have the other. And where you're getting all of this negative energy, it's affecting the one place that's very positive for you. And so for the other 8 hours, we've already went over 16. For the 8 hours, other 8 hours, you're sleeping. And while you're sleeping, you have been programmed. If you don't like what you do and you have all that negative energy, it carries over into your sleep, and then it affects you there, as well as your relationship. Or let's switch it around. You love what you do, but you hate your relationship. So a lot of times what people end up doing in this situation is they just stay at work all the time and they hate coming home. They'll go anywhere but home, including to the other person who they're probably in a whole different relationship with. And so, yeah, you love what you do, but you don't really necessarily love or like who you're with. You're miserable at home, so you stay at work all day, and that affects you, for the other 8 hours while you're sleeping as well. And there's no balance there. Does this mean that you have to have millions of dollars to be happy? Does it mean that you have to have the best health? No, it doesn't mean that at all. It just means that you have to decide, right? And that's easier said than done, but it's worth it. What does it mean to decide to be happy? Well, it's more than just saying, you know what, I'm going to be happy today. Even though that's a key component of it, it's more than that. Deciding to be happy also involves making decisions in your life that contribute, right, to your overall happiness. So if you are in this relationship that's turbulent and toxic and causing all this stress, making a decision to get out of it, which is very difficult to do a lot of times because you're putting so much of yourself into it, because you've put so much hopes into it. Nevertheless, it's causing you distress and harm. So making a decision to let it go will contribute to your happiness. Or there's a lot of people who complain about a job that they absolutely hate, but they don't put in any applications for new jobs. So make a decision every day to apply to at least one place. You have choices, right? As long as you have a job, you don't have to just accept anything for money. You can actually take your time and find something that's, uh, like I said, conducive to where you're trying to go. So life doesn't have to be that hard. Do things happen that are very difficult to grapple with? Absolutely. Do bad things happen? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that your overall life has to be hard. It depends on your perception of the things that are happening, good or bad. And it depends on the decisions that you're making for yourself. Right? So, my best advice for those who are looking for happiness is simply to decide to be happy. Hotep, everybody.